Hello, my name is John McCurdy, and I'm a channeler. Usually I channel my own soul. It's that part of me that is bigger and far more expansive than the human part. And occasionally I have been known to channel other entities. Yeshua, also known as Jesus, and his mother from that lifetime, known as Mother Mary, have always been very close to me, and occasionally they come through. But lately, when I've checked to see if they had something to say, they said, "No, we want to hear from you. You and those around you are the masters on earth now, and we love listening to you." So I channel my soul, the bigger part of me. A few days ago, my wife Romana and I were honored with a visit from a dear friend named Tanya. And before she left, we felt drawn to sit down and do a channel together, just the three of us. And as I opened up to channel, I was surprised to find Yeshua front and center, wanted to talk. And he said, "Yes, usually I'd rather listen to you talk, but I feel like the three of you could use a friend right now. So I'd like to talk." So I brought him in and spoke for him. And we had this beautiful conversation. And at the end of it, all three of us were like, this is so relevant for so many people right now. There's nothing so personal in it, so we should release it to the public. And of course, Yeshua was happy about that. There's a couple of places in the recording where he addressed something to the three of us, but he wanted me to make clear that that includes anybody who's feeling resonance with this message, not just the three of us. So we recorded in audio because my little makeshift studio here it can handle one or two people, but not all three. So it's an audio-only recording, and it's up next. So I hope you enjoy it. If you want to know more about this message or about what I do, you can find it at iamdivinity.com. So enjoy this beautiful message. And we'll see you later.
Greetings, dear friends. It's such a joy to sit in this beautiful circle. I would invite us all to open even more, to just feel the sacredness of our beingness, to feel our safe space, just be aware you are completely safe. You are safe to be who you are. You are safe to every cell in your body. I would invite you to take few really deep breaths in your belly. To feel this air of life, to expand your belly, so the tensions that you might feel in your body, in your belly, start to gently dissolve in this gentle breath of yours. Just feel this breath like a loving breeze of your soul, of your divinity, touching every cell of your body, touching every part of you that might be worried, that might feel afraid, might feel confused. Just feel this lightness, feeling your belly. And as you breathe deeply, you can feel how the air fills your body with lightness. And how this lightness touches all of you, all the structures within you that still resist, that still feel like they need to serve the old programs. You just feel like you're safe to take time to just stop and be yourself. Feel this lovingness in your heart, this kindness that is your nature. And just allow your body to relax and to be. There are lots of masters around us now. They came to honor each of us, each of you. In the sacred moment when souls meet, exchange the wisdom, exchange experiences, become even more aware of who they are. And with all these gifts, they go their own ways. And this is such moment. Precious moment So I would give the word to John now.
Greetings, my dear friends. I am Yeshua. And yes, indeed, all three of you are and have been such dear friends. It's, it is not often that I speak here because I love hearing what the masters on earth have to say. And indeed you are masters. Indeed, there's quite a crowd here of masters. You call them ascended masters. My dear mother, Mary, is here. My beloved Mary of Magdala is here. We're all we're overwhelming John a little bit. That's okay. We're all so proud of you, each one of you. We're all so honored to be here in support of you. We know these are difficult times for you. Perhaps, in some ways, the most difficult you've ever lived. Human might argue with that. Might look at some of those lifetimes that were so challenging. But you didn't have nearly as much consciousness or awareness in those other times. And so you didn't suffer as much. But now you're going through. Everything is changing. Your bodies, your lives, your families, your countries, your whole planet, everything is changing. And you are aware of so much now. And you're really doing well at not turning that into suffering. Because that's what most people do as they become more aware and they feel all of the challenges. They turn it into suffering. They feel the pain and they suffer with it. you don't need to do that. Sure, it hurts sometimes. But that's not a reason to suffer. It's just something you accept and move on. So we would love to hear whatever questions you may have or comments.
I want to thank John for inviting me here. It's for me a huge gift. And probably the first time in my life when I have such an experience with being in such a circle and making channel. I'm just grateful.
It is indeed our honor. Sometimes humans look back on that time when I was on earth 2,000 years ago. And they think, oh, that must have been such an incredible time with these incredible people. But the truth is, yes, it was, but it's nothing like the time that you are living through right now. And the people, we were just people, just like you. We had no idea of what was going to come, of what we were doing. We had a sense of something important, but we didn't know what it would look like. We didn't know there would be churches formed. We didn't know it would be 2,000 years until the seed we planted finally blossomed. We were just people doing our best to go through challenging life, just like you. Now here you are, finally bringing the completion of something that I helped to begin, and I only helped. It was you. Each of you are part of my soul. Each of you are part of the consciousness that created me. And together we began something that you are bringing to completion right now. And there will be, at some point in the future, there will be recognition of what you have done, because it is being noticed. You might not feel like very much is happening because the human perspective is so limited. And time slows everything down. But we are watching. We know what's happening. And it's so profound. It's so beautiful. It'll be chaotic for a while yet on your planet. So many people are just beginning to wake up. And waking up involves a lot of change, a lot of chaos, as you know so well. You've already been through that. You are literally creating a new place for you. And you can live in a whole new world right here on earth. Or perhaps we should say in the same space as earth. But it's a different world. And you're already there. All you have to do is realize that it's a different world and you do not have to entangle yourself in the old world. Sure, you interact with it, you interact with some of the people there. Some of them you have to let go of. But you are not bound to this old world anymore. It's creating some confusion for your mind, which is to be expected. Just allow it. Breathe through it. The human wants to know, what am I doing wrong? What do I need to do? And we say, just keep breathing. Because what you are really doing doesn't have very much to do with what you do as a human. It has to do with being present here, bringing consciousness, bringing light here. And yes, there are things to do as the human, books to publish, channels to create, workshops to promote, and all these things, but those are mostly to keep the human occupied. So don't get so caught up in them that you lose track of what you're really doing here. All of those things, they'll work out. Let them flow. Let the river carry you and carry them to just the right places and just the right moments. What you are doing underneath the surface, underneath what the mind can comprehend, what you are doing is so incredible, so grand. So let that in. You're becoming aware of it more and more. Not too quickly, or the light would blind you. Or burn you up even. But you are becoming more and more aware of it. And you're letting it in. And it's you. For all three of you. What you are doing is so grand. So let yourselves feel that. Are there any questions?
if I might ask some personal question.
Certainly.
You said now that any activity that we do here is to keep this human busy, and it's important. I mean, it's important to keep this human busy, because otherwise how to stay? So I would like to ask how I could express myself so that it would be the most joyful, the most beautiful and satisfying to me. What could be this activity? I understand everything you said, but I know that my soul, me, I have very special flavor, very special signature. What is that I could do, how I could express here on earth myself?
First of all, seek out the beauty in life. Let go of the people who pull you down. Allow yourself to enjoy the beauty that is here. And also, I was listening in to your conversation last evening about channeling. You have so much, you and your soul together have so much to share, so much wisdom. It's a little scary to expose yourself that way. But you're going to find that there's so much beauty in what you have to share. And you don't have to be afraid anymore. So I would encourage you to let that out if you feel drawn to. Find ways, whether it's channeling or music or traveling, having fun, whatever it is for you that makes you happy, that lightens you up. Follow that. It'll take you to places you didn't expect. Places you can't imagine from this place, because it's just not in your awareness yet. So continue to open to the beauty inside of you and to what enhances that. What brings that out? And remember, no matter what the human is doing, you are light. And you are shining so bright. And it is changing the world. Even though it looks like things are going crazy, it is changing the world. Is that helpful?
Yes, sure, my human would like more specific suggestions, but I could feel what you said.
Yes.
Yes, it
we're
helped.
going to leave it to you and your soul to find the specifics together. And I would encourage you to tune into that that connection, that relationship. Nurture it until it's not even a relationship anymore. It's just you. But it's you and your divinity together. Looking at the world through both the human eyes and the divine eyes of your soul. Then you'll know. Then the specifics, they'll show up in the right moment. You'll just know. What else?
I also want to use this opportunity and to say thank you to Mary Magdalene and Mother Mary. I feel a very warm connection with them. Like no specifics, but especially with Mary Magdalene, just very familiar, very warm and beautiful connection. So thank you. Sure, I can thank every moment, but here in this circle, it feels even more.
Indeed, and they are bowing to you, honoring you, receiving your thanks. And indeed, they're working with you a lot, as am I at times. We're all here. We're all here for you. We can't do it for you, but we're here in total support of you. And you can talk with us anytime you want to. You just open up and you imagine it. As you were talking last night, you imagine if you want to have a conversation, you imagine what they would say to you, or what I would say to you, or what your soul would say to you. Imagine it and write it down or speak it however you like. And then go back and read it or listen. You'll hear us in that. Because there's really no such thing as imaginary anything. It's all real. And you feel us. You speak what you imagine we would be saying, and we're right there saying it to you. And we are indeed here for you, for each of you. What more?
I would like to ask one question about my waking up in the night. It's just sometimes just feels so brutal. Like it's almost like there is like a wave of fear or wave or guilt or attack of accusation. It just goes in my plexus area, I think. It's just like I literally feel it. Something happens and I wake up, and then I have this toxicity coming in my body or activating in my body. I don't know. It just feels like feels like maybe it activates my old fears that are still in my body, or kind of a dragon work, or just something that then I just allow and breathe, or reveals me some structures of ancestral or collective mass consciousness mechanisms that are working still in my body. So I would like to ask more about it. It's not I'm complaining. It's as far as I can sleep in the morning, it's okay, but it's just sometimes I'd like to have some more daily time for me than to spend every night few hours observing, or I feel like something is happening, but I don't, something that I would just like to ask if there is something about it, some insight that could help me to, because sometimes I get really useful insights, or after I release this heaviness, I start to feel the light within me, or I get some visions or some poems or things like that. Yeah, that's it.
Indeed. You asked to be free. And this happens to a lot of Shambra, because when you're asleep, it's only your body that's asleep. Your mind, really, it's just your mind. And you are out, it's not the right word, but in the other realms, the other states of consciousness, bringing all of these parts of you home. And some of those parts of you are buried very, very deep. It takes quite a bit of digging, and when they come out, there's this wave of terror, or no words really define it properly, but there's all this stuff going on, and you feel it, and often it wakes you up. And sometimes it needs to wake you up because, it pulls you back a little bit so you don't go too deep into that. But it also brings it into your human consciousness. At least the feeling of it, if not the details. And allows you to ground it. And for lack of a better word. And indeed, the poems, the creativity in that time, it's annoying to the human who likes its patterns. But it's all helping you to bring these parts of you home. Some of them are so wounded. They've been pushed out so far. And you could say, it's not the right words again, but you could say it's a lot of work. bringing all of this home. But that's what's happening. It's nothing to fear. It's a beautiful process. As you know, it doesn't work too well these days to be too stuck on your human patterns. But look at this as a beautiful thing, not as anything wrong. It isn't anything wrong. It's a process of releasing, of coming home, of blending all of these parts and pieces and experiences back together into you, into your soul. So, don't fight it. Does that help?
Yeah, it is. Thank you. Just one more, maybe additional question regarding that is just this. You said with this woundedness of my, body, beingness. It just feels like sometimes almost like mission impossible to bring all this. It just feels in the body. There are some places in the body where energy doesn't flow, literally, or it just does sometimes, but with lots of pain.
Part of that is because you try to take this on as a human. You try to do it as the human and you can't. In the body, it clenches up. It's not so much that the energy isn't flowing as that the body clenches up because it doesn't understand what to do with it. And it thinks it needs to do something. And so the more you can comfort your body and soothe your body and remind it that this is not up to the human. Certainly the human has a part in it. And when you consciously feel into that part of your body and simply unclench it, and the energies will flow. You don't need to worry about the energies flowing. Just unclench those parts of you.
So consciously unclench.
Yes. Feel into that part of your body. The muscles seize up. They clench up. You can consciously allow them to relax, to open.
But I think that's what I'm doing.
Indeed you are. So we would say keep doing it. Don't worry about it. Don't take it as something going wrong with your body. That just makes it clench up tighter. It isn't. It's the energies moving. It's the fears moving. And they come through and your body feels them and tightens up. And they move on, but your body's still tight. So consciously relax it. And yes, indeed, you are doing it. But sometimes you fall into the fear that it's something wrong.
Yeah, that it's never gonna really get better.
Yeah. It will. But there's a lot there, and you and your soul are gently but very firmly and strongly moving these things through you.
Just feel sometimes it's not just for me, it's for also from what's happening in Gaia. And like sometimes I feel like there is some big major breakthrough in Gaia's moving energy, and I feel such release.
Indeed.
It just feels like almost like my body is representing something, this movement or collective. I don't know if that's...
You are a very, very empathic being, and that's beautiful. And one of the big things that beings have to do as they wake up, as they come into their consciousness and their realization and everything you're doing, is learn how to know what's yours and what isn't, and how to give Gaia back her own issues. They're not yours. She doesn't need your help with them. Maybe there was a time when she did, but they're hers. And you can have compassion for them without taking them on as your own. And you'll be a lot more help to her in that way, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it's not that I want, sometimes it's like, sometimes I just feel also other people's pain, especially people that I hang out a lot, and it just feels like...
Indeed, you are an empath. Empaths feel other people. Comes from long, long ago. Many, many lifetimes. And it's a strong habit.
How to unhabit it?
Recognize it, choose to become aware of it, and to consciously, we're not sure it's the right word, but to consciously disconnect. You can still feel, but you don't have to take the feelings on. And it takes, we can't give you a specific answer to that, but you will find it as you choose to become aware of it. It's a process of becoming more and more aware of what is yours and what belongs to somebody else, and then remembering your sovereignty and their sovereignty, and that you don't actually help them by taking on their pain. You can know it's there, but you don't have to take it into your body. And that's one of the biggest challenges that most Shambra have to find their way through, because you're all so sensitive. You're all so empathic. You sense other people. You feel what they feel. You know. You look at someone, you know who they are, even if your mind can't quite put details on it. You still know who they are, what they are, and you feel what they feel. And so it's very important. The more sensitive you become, it's so important to choose to be aware of what is theirs, so that so that you no longer need to take it into your own body.
I can understand this with other people, although it's still difficult, but I can understand what you say. But I have some difficulties with applying this to my own aspects and other lifetimes of my soul. I feel same. I feel all of them, and I don't know how. I feel like I'm responsible. I'm this. How they call it, chosen ascendee, or how they call it, like I'm the door, and I feel a little bit trapped. I don't feel that I live my life. I feel like I live theirs life. How I can do what you said now with other lifetimes of my soul, with all this integration. I take it on me. I mean, I feel this, I'm responsible. I feel I'm the only one door for them. But very often they are too brutal. They are abusive even. So I have this difficulty with, even if I say, fuck off, stop this, I don't feel quite like I can do it. I feel like they will come back because I'm the only door for them. So is my question clear?
Yes. And the answer is similar, but we do want to distinguish between other people and other beings, like, for example, Gaia, and your own aspects. Because the answer is similar. And part of it is with the aspects, part of it is to remember that integrating them is not the human's job. The human is involved, but it's the soul who does the integration. And again, it's about, you're going to feel them as they come through the door, so to speak. You'll feel those feelings. But again, you don't have to take them on. You don't have to take them into your body. And again, that's challenging because it's the normal response to be empathic. With the aspects, it's so important to not to focus on loving the aspects, but focus on loving yourself with them. Indeed, they're, in some ways, they are other beings, like cousins. But also, in some ways, they are you. There are parts of you that you pushed away. Now, there's a bit of a difference here between simple other lifetimes and also the aspects, whether the lifetimes or parts of lifetimes, that were pushed away because you were ashamed of them. And those, they have to be allowed back. And yes, some of them were brutal. Some of them, you had good reasons for pushing them away, for being ashamed of them, even though that didn't really work. And so you have to love yourself, even with that part of you. Or maybe a better way to say it is, you have to allow your soul to love you and that part of you. The words are so limited, but maybe you can feel what we're meaning.
A little bit.
Indeed, this is all some of the biggest challenges that you have to deal with in this transition, this ascension, this what you're doing right now. But it's so vital. So vital to see these parts of you. And then don't tell them to go away so much as you choose what to do with your own life. You see the fear come up. You see the aspects. You start in a particular direction and you see the aspects coming up that are triggered by that direction. Some of them are terrified. Some of them are horrified. Some of them are excited. You see all those, and then you make your choice for how to move forward, rather than giving the power of choice to that fear or that horror or whatever. You choose. And then they won't have any choice but to accommodate your choice and to allow soul to bring them home. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes more sense now. Maybe the only comment is that, especially now, I feel that I am overwhelmed with this intensity. So even doing what you say, it can be so. I get exhausted to do what I want to do by their pain. And I feel this intensity like hundreds, thousands of lifetimes aspects. It's unbearable for the human. I mean, sure, if the human is still alive, it is bearable, but it really, it's very big burden that makes me exhausted and does not give me this opportunity to live how I would like to live. This is how my human feels. This is what I say. So I understand what you say, but I also wanted to comment that from my experience, it's very exhausting. Like
Indeed. And almost everywhere you look at Shambhala right now, you're going to find exhausted people. It's such a part of what you're doing right now. And part of it is to allow that. You are doing something so incredible right now. And it is exhausting. And you have to allow that in your life. Try to find a way of living that can accommodate it, at least some, because it's going to continue for a period of time, not forever. Probably not for a long time at all. But what you are doing right now is indeed very difficult for the human. Very tiring. Because you're not just integrating all these aspects. You're changing the very nature of your body. The old body it's dying. It's falling apart. At the same time, the new body is coming in, but this is indeed an exhausting process. And you and your soul are taking it as fast as you can without totally blowing yourself out. Because you don't want it to prolong for too long. You want to get it over with, but Sometimes you just need to step back a little and let it happen. Allow yourself to be exhausted. Don't take it as something wrong. Just take it as something that is a natural part of what you're doing right now. And it will get better. At first, you have to get through it. Nurture yourself any way you can. Whatever that means for you and for your soul.
This makes sense.
Romana, was there more?
Yeah, I was just wanting to add a question to that discussion. So you said that those aspects are sometimes terrified, and when you want to do something that you feel it's so amazing, really beautiful, and then sometimes, like for example, I have this happening when I really want to create something new, something amazing that I feel is amazing, but in the vision it's so clear, and then when I want to manifest it and like simply, creating an announcement for public or organizing it, sometimes it's just this feeling of terrifying coming, of being horrified of because of all this history of not being understood or of not being accepted, my ideas not being accepted, my creations being before time or against some against mass consciousness, or because I believe that why it's so difficult for us, because we were so many lifetimes doing things that were bringing us out of what most people were believing. It's even this lifetime, it's what we do, it's annoying many people because we don't play their game anymore. And so it's hard on the body. Also, this is hard on the body to live out of this gravity of mass consciousness or of so that's my question, this is this terror that is inside can actually stop me, or like now we are having this beautiful creation that we want to bring out, the new workshop. Part of me it's just feeling it's amazing, it's beautiful. Part of me is just like, oh, maybe we are postponing with public, making it public because we are afraid of who knows what, I can go list what we are afraid of. So is that possible to miss the potential because of this terror inside? Or it's possible that we are already missing it?
Let's say it a little bit different and come back to where we started. You said, I want to be free. And everything that's happening in your life right now is about that. You get inspired to create these beautiful things. And indeed, they're beautiful. And It's going to be a beautiful workshop. And I'll be there. Well, I'll be there in support of you. But it's not about the workshop. It's about you becoming free. It's about you looking at the fears that come up and choosing whether to be bounded by them or to go beyond them. It's about moving through all of these things that come up in response to these beautiful creations. It's not about the creations themselves. That's just, they're beautiful, but they're not so important as the process for you of allowing the parts of you that come up around them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, on the soul level does. On human
You are
level,
soul. You are the soul.
I know. But, on this human level, it's...
Human goes, what?
yeah, I mean, human needs to eat, needs to sleep, needs to have money for all this freedom,
Indeed. And that comes.
So it's...
but one of the
this
things...
is a lot of unpaid work, right?
Yes, and one of the things you're doing right now is going through the transition of getting money in exchange for work, often hard work, to allowing your own energies to serve you in whatever way you need, including as money. And that's very difficult for the human to comprehend. That's why it's a difficult transition right now. And it's not something we can even put into words, but that's what you're doing right now. And part of the difficulty is the human wants to hold on to these old ways of making money, of exchanging it for hard work. And it disrupts the flow. But the human has a hard time seeing the other side of that. And I work with John on that all the time. He can kind of feel it, but he can't describe it, and he can't figure out how to make it happen. And yet it happens so much in his life and in your life. So, yes, we understand the frustration of the human. I went through it myself in my short lifetime. The human has such a limited view. And inside it's so much bigger than that. But that's still all the human can see. So we come back to hold the human gently, nurture it. But choose the new. Choose the beauty, the ease and the grace. Give it to yourself even when your mind is screaming that you need to be doing something else. Give yourself some ease. It doesn't make any sense to the mind, but You could say it is the doorway for these aspects to your soul. John's not sure that makes sense, but you know what we're talking about.
Yeah, it does make sense. Not completely, but
Theoretical sense, yes. Very theoretical sense.
I mean, I can feel it. You know, I was having this experience just this night, how I was watching this mechanism in my mind of this old ancient mechanism of my parents and my grandparents and this ancestral mass consciousness motor of you have to work, you have to do something, you have to always be active, you have to kind of, it's almost like a program of like a structure that I've been aware of like for many years and finding this smooth, but now I'm surprised that it's still so strong. And although I was in this vision, I was feeling how it's fading. And I was like allowing it to completely, I turned it off. Like
Indeed.
in the, in this vision, I just had this ability to just turn it off. And it started to, because it didn't have my permission anymore to control me, it was starting to fade out.
Indeed. And that's exactly what you're all doing right now. You're turning off that structure. Yeah. Part of you keeps reaching over and flipping the switch back on, but...
Yeah, because it's terrified. What will happen?
Yes.
If I do that, how my life will go, how I'm responsible for my things in my life. And, it just feels like... But part of me, what I saw is when I turn it off, my real body starts, the sources of light in my body start to actually be free to flow.
Indeed. Beautiful metaphor. And it is what you are doing. Now you are aware of the structure and that you can turn it off. And that's all it takes. It takes time in human terms. It takes time to let yourself turn it off, and to let yourself leave it off, and to let it fade away. But that is what is happening. And indeed, it is being replaced not with another structure, but with something far, far better than that.
Yeah, with the inner flow.
Yes.
Inner flow, the natural flow of my beingness.
Yes.
It almost felt like this structure is sitting on my source of my energy, my real energy.
Yes.
My real flow of my light body. Yeah.
Indeed.
One more specific question, okay?
Yes.
Many years I had a big desire to change my name, human name. And it was really, very often, it was very strong, this desire. This name that I have now, it feels so name of ancestrals. And I was really given, this is the name of my grandmother. My father gave me this name. I mean, I feel very trapped limited by this name. And on one hand, I know that I give the strength for any name. On the other hand, the name also has its energy that can help or that can stop or interfere. My question, does my name now, because really I feel very flat, very cut, very limited by my human name, and I would like to change it. Will it help? I mean, maybe this is only my misperception, or like this, or it really limits me, and it will be great to change my name and to choose my name for me, that I choose name for me.
Can be a beautiful thing to change your identity. Yes, indeed, you are the one who decides how strong the old name is, but nevertheless, it does come with all of those energies. And sometimes it can make a huge difference for you to, just like you have to disconnect from your family in order to free yourself. Sometimes you have to disconnect from the name also. It's just not that you have to, but it can help make it easier for you. And right now, we would say that anything that can ease the way for you can be a good thing. So, if you feel drawn to change your name, we're just feeling into John saw your name on Telegram as Hannah.
Yes, this is what I chose.
And it fits you so much better than Tanya. It's beautiful. Yeah, but it's up to you. But we would say the difference that it can make is real, because it helps you to disconnect from those old ancestral energies and to come more and more into your own chosen energies.
Yes, Henna is old Hebrew name,
Yes.
meaning grace.
Yes. Seems to me there was one of my relatives, or great-grand, John can't remember the story right now, but one of my ancestors was named Hannah in that lifetime.
You're Yeshua or John?
Yes, Yeshua.
Okay. Good, I'm glad. Because I feel there are not so many people who start to call me Hannah now, but it's interesting to feel how I am with it. And yes, I feel also there is resistance of my old identity, like, no, Hannah, Tanya, maybe come back to Tanya, like this. But I recognize this resistance. Yes, really, it's completely different. I'm glad.
Trust what you feel. Trust what going forward from here for all of you. It's so important. Trust what you feel. The mind will argue all kinds of different ways, and give you all the reasons why and all the reasons why not and all of that. Let it all go. It's about what you feel in the moment. Trust that. And if it lightens you up, that's your path. If it makes you feel lighter inside, that's your direction. That's your soul's guidance. But remember, the mind may throw up all kinds of heavy arguments. So you have to distinguish between the moment where you actually felt lighter and the moment afterwards where your mind pulled you down. Mm-hmm. But you know how to do that.
Thank you.
Indeed. Anything else before we wrap up?
John has a question. Human John.
He's already felt the answer to most of them, so it's nothing specific coming up right now. It is indeed such an incredible time. But it's not about what the human thinks it's about. So much deeper. Now your human is starting to understand. But indeed, this is about becoming free. And that is your work right now. It's what you're doing right now. There's all these things that you do for fun and for the beauty of it. But remember that underneath it all, what it's really about is you coming free. You transforming into divinity on earth and everywhere else too. And that's what it's all about. But that is also a natural process. It's happening. You can't get it wrong. It simply isn't possible. It's happening. If you remember that is the basis of everything right now, then life will feel a little bit gentler for you. It'll still have its challenges. It'll still have its beauties. But it's all in support of you and your freedom. So remember that. And know that I and Mary of Magdala, all of these ascended masters, we're all here. All the time. All you have to do is feel us. Talk to us. We're here. We're in so much honor of what you are doing. And we're here to support you any way that we can. We can't do it for you, but we can encourage you if you let us. And it is indeed such an honor for us, because you are the masters now. What we did is nothing compared to what you are doing right now. So remember that. And there will come a recognition at the appropriate moment. Not that you need it anymore, but it'll be there. And so it is.